everyone, and welcome to the Paranormal Connection. I'm your host, Donna Wilberg. Today's guest feels her calling in this life is to be a psychic in order to help people and to be a positive force in the world. She's been on several major radio and television stations in Sacramento and currently has her own show on Blog Talk Radio. She's been on the show before. We love her to death. Welcome back, Linda Schooler.
Well, thank you very much, Donna. It's such a pleasure to be here again.
We're going to try not to get in trouble.
Okay. I think we've already been in trouble.
So, for people who don't know anything about Linda Schooler, why don't you give us a little bit of your background?
Okay. I've been doing readings, psychic readings for about 25 years. And I started out really interested in the Edgar Cayce readings. I just really resonated with what he had to say. And so I began to meditate. And I actually, at one point, I read the Bible through the whole thing. It took me about a year to kind of really get through it.
Did you understand it?
No, and I still don't. But I thought
it's a good story.
It was a commitment, you know, to this path, I think, for me. And then I started doing massage because I felt like the healing of God comes through the hands.
Absolutely.
And so I did massage for about 20 years. But when I was about 3 years into doing massage, I started like getting ideas and feelings about people. And I thought, well, this is interesting. And so I felt like I needed to become a psychic. And I have to tell you that for the first few years that I was doing readings, I didn't believe in myself at all. But I still felt compelled to do them. So as strange as that sounds, and then it just became something that grew upon itself, and it's something that I've never turned away from. I've only added to it. And then from 87 to 97, I did pet therapy work, where I took my dogs to convalescent homes, hospitals, etc. And I saw the bond between animals and people, so I thought, well, I'll add that to what I do. And it's just so amazing. And so what happened from that was I got to work with Petco, and I felt like that was just a really amazing thing to be able to do. I did some of their grand openings, and then they let me, there were 6 stores in the Sacramento area. Every weekend, every month for the weekends, six times a month, I would go to these different stores and set up a table, and I just, either for donations or for whatever, I do readings for people.
And their dogs, their pets?
Okay. Yeah, it was
How does that come to you? I mean, when you're getting messages from the universe, usually they're either in symbols or English. How does it come over with pets? How do they communicate with you?
Well, it's pretty easy. It's the same way as it comes for people for me. It's mostly pictures in my head, and that's what you have to really think about when you're working with anything psychic, is you have to think about the interpretation of what you're getting. Animals, it's just pretty much pictures for me. I'm pretty much that way with people as well. Sometimes if I'm working like with a person and I might hear a song, like one time I heard the song North to Alaska when I was working with a lady, and she told me her son had just moved to Alaska, so I thought, okay, I'm glad you were able to confirm that right there. So it's pretty simple. It's pictures, a lot of it. And that's why I love radio as well. And because you get pictures in your head, and you don't have to be with a person to be able to do a good reading. Yeah. That's what I found.
So do you do a lot of phone readings?
I do, yeah.
Okay.
Mostly by phone. I prefer phone because it has to do with my ability to tune in. And sometimes people don't understand how I can do a reading with them and not have to be there with them. And I understand that we're third dimensional beings, and we move in this realm, right?
Okay, but you just have to ask him, well, how does TV and radio and telephones work?
Right.
It's all about frequency.
Right.
So getting those messages, communication goes through the airwaves all the time.
Right.
So.
Good point.
Yeah.
Excellent point. Yeah. And I just love what I do, Donna. I just have to tell you, there's never going to be a time when I don't do readings. And every day I ask that I get better at what I do, and I want to always have compassion. And my whole thing in life is to really be to have like a Christ-like consciousness as much as I can. That's my daily thought. And what does that look like? And how can you do that in a practical sense in your life every day? So
I love that, Linda. And you know what? That's what makes you good at what you do too. It's something that when you are on your path, it's just magic.
Yeah. Oh,
Just
for
magic.
sure.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope, like with people, I hope to help them like think outside the box or look at something from a little different angle. And I love it when people come back and say, of course, it's good confirmation for the work that I do, if they ever do come back, and they don't have to, but sometimes I hear, you know, that things came about. And I love that, not just because I like to be good at what I do, but I like that people can really see that this is real. And when you see that it's real, you can see that there's more to life than just the material world. And that
We had in the studio alone today, how many, we had so many synchronistic moments. It was like mind-blowing.
Yeah.
But you know, it validates. It validates that we're all here serving a higher purpose.
Yeah.
And when you let it flow, awesome things happen.
They do,
Yeah.
actually, yeah. You've had some really great people in here today. I'm just so charged from being around them, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like people are a light, and you bring a lot of light with what you do,
Oh, you're
and
so
it's so
sweet.
appreciated.
So do you. And we should be off giggling with with a cup of tea or something, or those
should.
fabulous drinks we had with those fun teas. But let's go back to what you were saying about, you know, how the communication comes to you. It doesn't work that way for all people. So did it take you time for that to develop, or did you always have the same visual impressions or the audio impressions?
That's a good question. I would say it took me time to learn to trust it.
Okay.
That's what, because I feel like for a lot of my life, even in doing this work, I've just gotten in my own way too much. And sometimes you think about ego and you think, well, I've not had a big ego, what would be considered a big ego. But on the other hand, I don't think I've had enough maybe confidence in what I do.
Yeah.
Because I find that as I do, like just to be able to present something to someone in a reading and not worry about how it's being interpreted or how they're going to feel about it. So I've been in my way probably a lot about around that type of thing. So you were asking about how did the pictures come?
Yeah,
Was it always like that?
Is that something that you said, because you said you started to meditate?
Yeah.
Was it the meditation that sort of brought this information in different ways, or was that there before you just learned to trust it more by meditating?
Exactly. You
Okay.
hit it. That was
Okay.
it. To learn to trust it. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
I know a friend of mine, a very good friend, her mother passed away, and you know, she called me and told me, and gosh, it was heartbreaking because it was sudden. You know, she really didn't. It was just one of those things. She went in the hospital and she died. It was horrible for my friend. And the first thing I got was I got this voice saying, "Orange, tell her orange." I thought, well, that just doesn't make any sense, and I didn't say anything for the longest time. And finally, you know, her grieving had kind of subsided a little bit, and I said, you know, I just wanted to tell you that I think your mother was trying to tell me something. Orange. She just kept repeating orange. Tell her orange. So I go to visit her. Guess what color her kitchen is?
Ah.
It's
yeah.
orange. I went, oh my God, she's here. That's what she was trying to say, is she's here all the time with you.
Good.
So,
Perfect.
so what you were saying, learning to trust and taking, and trying to figure out those messages, or just believing that there's something there and just relaying them sometimes is just very, it's just important. That's why we're getting them.
It is. Yeah. It's important and it's comforting as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure she was very comforted by that.
I think, and made me feel better about trusting myself.
Yeah.
Believe me, orange. What's orange?
Yeah.
You mean orange? So, yeah, that's very helpful. So what kind of, I mean, people come to you for all kinds of things, but what is probably the most I don't want to say popular, but the thing that most people are struggling with the most?
Well, relationships,
Okay.
work, money, the kind of the basic things about life. Yeah. So. And and what I feel like I'm moving into too, because I want to keep adding on to what I do, is, we need healing in our lives, and that's what always been my intention. And I've worked with like hands-on, I'm not going to say hands-on healing, but I've worked with massage for quite a long time. And what I find the need for in people, because when you talk about relationships and work and all the different things that we need to do to just get by in life, I feel like there's a lot of connection between physical illnesses and emotional problems. And so I feel like I want to kind of move into that, because if you're having a problem at work and you're not quite believing in yourself, and then it's giving you an ulcer, and then you've got to deal with that, and it's like thing upon thing upon thing. So I'd like to be able to help people go back and to like original trauma or something like that. And so I feel like that's kind of been coming up in my readings lately, because it's been on my mind to help people with that, because I think we carry traumas, and this is nothing new. People have talked about it, people do this kind of work.
Yes.
And there's amazing people out there doing body work and all that. Louise Hay,
Yeah.
I mean, she's been around for a long time. But I feel like I want to put my spin on it, or not my spin, but there's just got to be more. It would be like when you think about, okay, you get a diagnosis of something. I've been watching this really good series on cancer. It's Ty Bollinger. The guy is amazing. He's talking about, quote unquote, thinking outside the box. And when it comes to cancer, how you can help yourself holistically. Well, to me, it's metaphorical in a way for just basically really anything that is an issue in the physical body. Cancer is like the end result of something that's been harbored for quite a while. But other things have been manifesting most likely before then for people. So I feel like I'd like to develop, do you know how that people, there's the chakras, they all have colors related to them and that type of thing. And people work with tones, and they work with bowls, and they work with sounds, that type of thing. So I feel like I'd like to take all this stuff and put it together in a good salad, that people can understand, and maybe in a way that's maybe not been done yet. So that's my thought there. So I think I'm going back around to wanting to help people with physical healings. And so I feel like I'm probably going to be bringing in more people like that.
Yeah.
Where, I can make suggestions, or, I'm not a doctor, I can't prescribe or diagnose, but I can kind of tell you, okay, you might want to watch out for this or look out for that. And sometimes it's things people wouldn't have even thought of. And sometimes it does come up a little bit later. So it's just really fascinating. And I have to tell you another thing that I'm very thankful in doing this kind of work is I get to talk to people like you, and I get to talk to people like the general public about things on their minds that they maybe haven't talked to other people about. And,
I agree. Yeah.
It's really fascinating. People have good stories.
Yeah, good stories, and it's almost like people are starting to realize that they're not alone in their thinking, for one. For two, the more that you talk about it, the more you are aware of it, and the more powerful it becomes in your life, living your life.
Yep.
And how many people were told when they were children, oh, you don't really see Uncle Norman, that's just your imagination. Well, that's changing. People are talking, people are opening up, and I love that we're in this shift that's going on, and everybody's evolving, and especially with the healing field, that's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really excited, because I feel like, when you think about traditional medicine, it's like, to me, in my mind, and again, maybe it's just because I've been kind of focusing on it or looking at it, and maybe it's an interest of mine, but I feel like we need something more. Something's got to give. It's like some big balloon or something that's got to pop, Yeah, it's that kind of thing to me. It's really big, and I feel like when you have your health, and when you have things, when you've managed it yourself, or when you've figured it out yourself, or when you're self-healing, it's such a powerful thing. And again, I feel like you go back to the idea that your nature is the nature of God. I think we all have that in common. We all have a soul. That's my take on things. We all have a soul.
I always think about that saying, physician, heal thyself.
Right.
What did that mean? You know?
Right.
Well, of course, I interpreted the saying as we are all able to heal ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think people are now taking their power back.
Right.
You know, it's in, you know, traditional medicine has its place.
Yes.
It really does.
Yes.
But for maintenance and for keeping yourself healthy and happy, I think there's so much more that we can be doing, and it starts up here.
Exactly.
And here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's really, that's what I want to be out there a little bit more with. I really do. Because we have to, I think as we heal ourselves individually, we're healing people around us. If you're happy and smiling, you tend to make people smile back at you.
It's contagious.
Yes, it is.
I know it is, isn't it?
Yes,
It's fun.
Yeah, yes it is.
And there's nothing better that makes you feel better than a good giggle.
I know. I'm telling you.
Yeah, laughter is the best medicine.
Yeah.
So you're doing phone readings, and let's talk about your radio show, because that's exciting. How is that going?
Well, it's going well. I love radio, Donna. I love radio. I could be behind, I could do that all the time. I love it, and I've been blessed to have been on, several stations here in Sacramento, and I love it. I just,
and they love you too.
And the treats that I bring. The Blog Talk radio show. It's Psychic Tuesday with Linda Schooler, and I love doing it. I do readings. That's what I do. I mean, I just do readings on the air. And I thought, well, how could I hold this down just doing readings on the air? Are people going to get bored? Are people not going to listen? But people are listening, and that's good. And sometimes people say, well, maybe I learned something from a reading you gave, or I understand something more because of what I heard in a reading. So I've been doing it since last March, and seems to be going all right.
Yeah. Well, I remember back when I first met you, you asked me if I was thinking about moving to Mississippi or Missouri or Mississippi, and I'm thinking to myself, what? No way. Okay, fast forward a couple years, my daughter was stationed in Mississippi, her and her husband. I fell in love with it. And the first thing that came to my mind was, she told me that's where I was going to go. I was going to end up there somehow. And I did. Oh. And what a blessing. And this was just casual too. This wasn't even a reading. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is such fantastic information. And I appreciate that it was just something random that you said to me. And, I'll never forget that.
Oh, thank you.
I'll never forget that.
Well, thank you kindly.
And it made it that much more special knowing that you picked up on an energy of something that was going to happen to me and delivered that. So when it did happen, it was like, yes, I can accept this. I can be open to this because this is something that's part of my path.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
I love hearing that. I appreciate that very much.
That was super.
Yeah.
Well, you're just the best. I just absolutely love you. So you're doing the radio show. Are you still working with animals?
Somewhat. I mean, if that comes in, that's fine. And like, for example, if somebody loses can't find a pet, I do something for no charge. I'll write like a little email out if they send me a picture. So I just like to kind of do that. And sometimes that gets a little difficult, but you do what you can there. Yeah. So I'm doing readings. That's what I love to do. That's what I'm here to do. And I struggle with it sometimes. I think, shouldn't I be doing something different, or shouldn't I be doing something more? But I do. This is what I do. And I probably will end up writing something someday, because I think I'm moving into that area too.
Oh, good. That would be fabulous.
And I have to tell you, you did have, you were talking to somebody that was involved with theater, and I have to tell you that being involved in theater myself, back several years ago, and being behind the scenes in theater, to me, it was like heaven on earth, because we worked as a team, we worked as a unit, and that to me is like heaven on earth, where everybody works together. It was just fabulous. It was great. And I
Isn't
loved
that a
it.
great feeling?
It is, yeah.
When you see bees working, they fascinate me.
Right.
Ants, as much as I hate them in my house, is when I watch them and how they work together as a unit.
Yep.
It just fascinates me.
Yep.
And I wish people were more like that.
Well, and even in our own lives on a daily basis, when I think about, sometimes you struggle, like if somebody honked at me the other day, and I thought, well, gee whiz, the light just turned green. I mean, I'm not sitting there,
Were you texting?
No,
I'm just kidding.
Heavens, no. Oh my God, I have so many rules in my head, you wouldn't believe it. Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't know what happened to me this lifetime, but I've got all these rules, high standards for myself. Oh my gosh. No, I was just sitting there at the signal, and I felt like this person was like a little bit edgy, and my first thought was, well, to heck with you. But then I thought, don't resist. Don't resist.
Yeah.
It's just a good idea. If you can just hold a minute, hold.
Yes.
Hang on.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time.
We are?
Can you believe it?
No.
So if you want to give your information so everybody knows how to contact you and come for a reading, call you for a reading, whatever it is you would like to put out there.
Okay, it's Linda Schooler, www.lindaschooler.com.
Okay.
I'm working on a new website, which is fun. I'm working on it myself.
Oh, good.
I feel so grown up.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I loved your other one.
Yeah.
That was good too.
Yeah.
Okay, so people can just go to your website and they can get your phone number and how to contact you for a reading?
Yes.
Okay, good.
That's fine.
Super. Okay, well, let's give some information about the Paranormal Connection.
The Paranormal Connection airs the first and third Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our companion show, Story Connection, airs the second and fourth Thursdays of each month. Each episode repeats the following Friday at 1:30 p.m. and Saturday at 5:30 a.m. Watch these programs online at the same air times by going to accesssacramento.org and clicking Watch 17. In the Sacramento region, you can see us on Comcast Channel 17 and on AT&T Channel 99. You can find previously aired shows on the Paranormal Connection YouTube channel. For information on upcoming shows and previous Paranormal Connection guests, go to paranormalconnectiontv.blogspot.com. You can contact us at paranormalconnectiontv@gmail.com. And don't forget, find us on Facebook, become a friend, and become a fan.
Well, Linda, it's always, always, always a pleasure having you back. But before we let you go, is there anything that you would like to extend to the audience? Any parting words?
Yeah, just love your life. Be involved, invest in your life. It's the best thing you've got going. That's what I would say. Even though there's struggles, try to breathe into it and try to meditate if you can. There's some really good guys online. It's called the Honest Guys Meditation. They're really great. They're very soothing, and they have them for different, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15-minute reading meditations. They're very wonderful. So if you can, try to meditate. That would be my most helpful suggestion.
Yeah, that kind of opens things up for you, and you get answers that you may have been asking for a long time. That's always a good thing to have.
Yeah, and what it does, I think, is it stops the mind. You know how you focus on something and it goes around and around and around your head?
Yes.
And that just stops it right in its tracks. And then you can get a different take on it because you're open and available to receive information.
Yeah. You know what? There's actually, if you look at a diagram of the brain and how it works, that negative energy, the negative feedback, the voice that keeps, the tape that keeps going, over and over again. When you stop that and you break that cycle, you go to a part of your brain that produces more serotonin and the feeling of well-being. So that's such a cool thing. And thank you for bringing that up, because meditation is one of those tools that we were given to use to help with those things.
Yeah.
So I want to thank everybody out there for joining us this evening, and thank you to my fabulous crew, Rick and Don and Laura and Ted and Noreen and Tony, for volunteering their time, because that's what makes the show work. And for information on my romantic suspense novels, please check out my website. There's also information, more information on the shows, on my films, a lot more about me, if you're interested in me. I know we're talking about Linda here, but, you know, go to my website, www.dannawilberg.com. And with that, I think we're just going to say goodnight.
Well, thank you, Donna.
Thank
it
you
was just
very much.
You're a blessing.
You're a blessing.